Okay, this is part 2 of the video I was just doing. Okay, when you select both of these and you hit enter on both of them, that's all you have to do with those. Okay, and if it doesn't work whenever you do this, you're just gonna have to play around with it to figure out, you know, what settings work for you, because it is bugged and sometimes it doesn't work. You may have to do it a couple of times to get it to figure out, how to make it work. But the only flaw that I have found between level 1 and level 20 is that for some reason most of the time this registers as 1 through 10 instead of 1 through 100. And what I mean by that is 2, if you just left this as 2 and this is 7, and say that it would actually register this as 20% and this is 7%. It's only done this to me a couple of times, but it has done that, so I just wanted to note that. But every time you change this, you have to hit enter afterwards, or it's not going to work. Sometimes it still doesn't work, but I found out that makes it work the most. So on your buffs are pretty self-explanatory. You select this, and you select the buff you want to use, and see, he's casting the buff on himself. And then what is my other one? I don't remember what it's called, shield or something. Shield. And you use those. You don't want to auto detect your stuff, because if you pick up one of those ground buffs off the ground, those little potion buffs, it will actually cancel this out. And my buff is level 1, so if the thing on the ground is actually like a level 3 or something, the bot will think that I don't have the buff at all, so he will stand there and keep casting the buff over and over and over again until, you know, the buff wears off or I'm out of mana or whatever. So you don't want to do the auto detect. You just want to set the infight to yes. You want to check that, and you want to set your delay to 20 minutes, which I think this is in seconds or milliseconds. I don't know. Here, let's test this real quick. We'll do 3 and see if it's in 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so it's every 3 seconds. That's in seconds. So 1200 is 1200 seconds. So you want to make that 20 minutes. And then I'm not going to use that just because I don't want to use it. Your combat heal, you don't want to set this. This will only bug the bot out. It's actually not even for combat or combat heals. It's really for soul shots. And I have not been able to get this to work because I don't really understand what this is talking about, because that's not how the bot is supposed to be programmed or worded. They have misunderstood like what this is supposed to mean, I guess. And the problem with this bot is it's not like the original L2 walkers. It's been reverse engineered and changed. And so don't set any of these settings up at all. See, it even says skill shots, not soul shots. So your party settings, I will go over parties in depth in another video, because I know people are having a whole lot of problems with your party settings and all of that, and I will show you how to do that, because I have successfully botted for over 8 hours with a party of, I think they're like level 16s, but I had them fighting low level mobs just to figure out how to make it work. And your party buffs, I haven't set party buffs. I made a caster or whatever so I could do party buffs, but I'm gonna have to go through that myself first and figure out how to do that. I have successfully got the party heal working. I know a lot of people are having party heal problems. Your control settings, you don't want to use this. Your auto trade settings, you can try this if you want. I use auto trade. I do that, so my main character, like the leader of the group, has all the loot, all the money, all the everything, because I sell gold and I want to be able to keep track of it all in just one character instead of 100. And so yeah, that's that. And the path, we've covered path. The thing about path is the center point. You want a bot at a center point, because you want, what this does is, I kind of explained it earlier, is when you move your bot to an area, you want to find the center of the area. You don't want to just go to a random place, click center point, and just go, because there's no telling what it's going to do, if there's mountains, if there's anything like that. So you want to find a good center point to bot in. Alright, so let's say you're in a small circle area that you want to bot in, but there's a lot of mountains and everything. You can change this to whatever you want. So if I change this to 500 and I click current, it will go to the map. It'll make this area very, very small. So if I don't want to attack anything, if I don't want to run into these mountains, let's set it to 1500. Let's see what that does. So I'm not hitting this wall, but I'm still kind of hitting this wall. So what I'll do is I'll move this direction some. just a little bit, and then I'll move it again. Okay, and then go back to map. And I'm still in there a little bit. I'm close to this one, but I mean, I'm pretty good. There's not really any mobs here. They're down below the thing. So, and your Z limit, you always want to set your Z limit, and you want to make sure you set your Z limit right. That way your bot's not running into the ground or trying to attack a mob in the ground, or that's beneath it in some other instance of the game. Or it's stuck in a tree, or I've had a lot of instances where I was in a place and there was like a spider or something that had bugged out and was in the tree, and my bot was just standing there trying to attack a mob that it couldn't reach. And the way the bot works is if it can't attack a mob within 5 to 6 seconds, it's going to switch to the closest mob next to it. Well, if there's not another closer mob, it's going to untarget the mob that it's targeting and then retarget it again and keep trying to fight it, so that makes your bot get stuck. Okay, what I mean by this is if you go to your map, all these mobs, okay, are in a Z limit, okay, which is high and low, okay, like below you and above you. So if I set the Z limit to 10, and I click this shows all the mobs that are either 10, I think it's, in this game, it's meters, 10 meters above me and 10 meters below me. Okay, you can attack a mob up to 300 meters. Anything above 300 meters, you cannot attack it. You can't attack anymore. They're out of range. So if I set this to 100, these are all the mobs that are in 100 Z limit of me. So when I go to 300, like all the mobs that I can attack, it shows me every mob that I can attack within a Z limit. So if I uncheck this, it shows all the mobs. I can't attack these mobs because they're too high or too low. Alright, so you set it to 300 so it will only attack the mobs that you can physically attack. Let me think, what else? Your policy. Okay, we'll go over this again. Your short attacks and your long attacks. These are also bugged. That's why you have to select both of them. Normally, if you were a melee, you would have to select short attacks only. You wouldn't do far attacks. But for some reason, when you don't set both of these, the bot gets confused, and it will run to a mob, stop, turn around, and run to another mob, stop, or turn around and run to another, and it will never attack a mob. And the reason being is because it thinks that it is either too close or too far away from the bot. Like if you're running your bot and you pay attention to your text menu right here, move this out of the way, it will tell you, it'll say down here, cannot see bot, or cannot see mob, the mob is too far away so it's canceling the cast, or it'll say like a bunch of different stuff, and that's how you can tell that you know it's not working right. And the reason this is not because that you're really like that. It's because the bot is ran on memory injection. Okay, so I'm not going to explain memory injection to you, but I've done it a little bit in a previous video. But the bot runs on memory, and it's not actually, it doesn't see the game like me and you do. Okay, it sees it completely different, and so it thinks that it's out of range even though it's not, so it runs the memory command for this bot, or this character is too close or too far from it, so it tells the bot that, and then the bot stops, you know, and goes somewhere else even though it doesn't need to. And I don't really know how to explain it to you. I don't know. I understand it. I mean, I completely understand. I've made bots before. I don't know how to explain it to you to make it make sense. But that's why. And okay, the thing about this range is the game in old L2 walkers, everything was done in meters. So your distance between melee and, like, your melee distance, the max distance was 100 meters. That's why this says to melee default is 100, because it used to be 100 meters. Well, the people who reverse engineered the program, whoever they were, they have messed everything up to where they don't, I guess they didn't understand what it was, and they changed this to where it's, I don't know how far away it is, but it's a lot longer range than it should be. So you have to set this to a lot further than it actually should be. That's why if you want to attack a mob that's very close, 10,000 is a pretty good range for a caster. I found that 10,000 is pretty good. If you're melee, I set mine to 150,000. So, and so you can start with 10,000 and go all the way to 150,000, whatever you're comfortable with. If I set my caster to 150,000, he would attack every single mob out here without ever missing any of them. But I don't want to do that because I don't want my bot running 300 miles to go attack one mob. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. And okay, so we're at the end of this video. I'm gonna stop this one and then I'll start another one.